Hola, amiga, and welcome back to the Latina Leadership Podcast, the podcast for Latinas by Latinas, where every week we have real conversations about the issues and topics that matter most to our community. Topics like education, health and wellness, entrepreneurship, pay equity, and so much more. Get comfortable. We're bringing you another inspiring episode starting right now. Enjoy the show.
Hola, and welcome to another episode of the Latina Leadership Podcast. Today, we're going live here on the Facebook page and, of course, YouTube. On today's episode, we have Kate del Castillo. Kate, ¿cómo andas? ¿Cómo estás?
I'm very happy to be here, to be part of your podcast. I love it. Gracias.
Bueno, gracias for coming on here. As briefly mentioned, I know you're busy. I know you got a lot going on. And as everybody today and everybody in the political aspect is also very, very busy. Entonces, I'm just going to get right into the conversation and into the interview. As you know, today is obviously November 5th. Today is officially known as Election Day here in America. Mm-hmm. As we talk about policies and politics, before I get into like the nitty-gritty of things, I know there's a lot of political anxiety happening right now. Everybody's afraid. Everybody's scared. What advice would you give those who are kind of scared to even go to the polls to go vote?
No, I think we have to go. I mean, fear resolves nothing, you know, is the fear is just keeps you from moving. And no, it's you have to go vote, first of all, because it's a right. You know, nosotros los Latinos, we are so many of us now. I don't know how many millions. I think more than 4 million. We can definitely change change this country. So that's how important it is that we go out and vote. There's a lot of people. There's police officers everywhere. I don't think anything's gonna happen. You know, it's a very divided moment in the history of this. I think not only in this country, but also in Mexico and the entire world. I think we are very divided right now. So I think saying what we think, respecting what others think, I think that's the key. But we should never stop elevating our voice, you know, and using our right to vote. So let's go out there and vote.
Yeah, you're right, Kate. As the fear does nothing. Fear is not going to accomplish anything. So even afraid and fearful of getting out there and vote, I started looking at actual like tips of what to do. First of all, it's just knowing the laws of where you're at. When you're in line, don't get out of line because you can still vote and your vote still counts as you're in line. So when you mentioned there was Latinos, there's 36 million Latinos who are eligible to vote this year presidential election. That's more than 80% of Latino registered voters for this presidential election. So I am all for the first woman president. I was telling somebody 8 years ago, I woke up today crying 8 years ago, and then I woke up the next day crying again for different reasons, for different results that had happened and that transpired throughout the night as I slept. So as we're talking about today, let's talk a little bit about Harris. Kamala Harris's plans to strengthen Affordable Care Act and the healthcare, making it easier for accessible, and the plans on the Biden-Harris tax credit enhancement permanent, lowering the healthcare premiums by an average of about $800 a year for millions of Americans. When we talk about healthcare, because it affects everybody, those who have it and those who don't. We pay premium prices for our healthcare, and then we understand that they're limited to what is available to them based on the actual healthcare that they have. So when we talk about healthcare, how important would you say it is to you when you look at Kamala Harris's like plan book for her presidency?
Well, first I need to say something. Kamala Harris is not Joe Biden. You know, even if we're in the same party as Democrats, that's fine. But this is her, and it will be a whole new thing. You know, so let's just try to unwind from that, because it's not going to be the same. This is a woman. We go to the doctor. You know, we do take care of ourselves. Men, it's just impossible to get them to go to the doctor, you know, so they have it's just a different kind of way of thinking. So that's why I think Kamala is going to do what's right. First of all, she's going to give us the right for women to decide about our own bodies. That's one of the most important things here. We're talking about you deciding for yourself, so that for me is, it's one of the most important things. Another thing, I think Democrats know by now the mistakes they've done, and I think Kamala knows more than anybody what happened in Joe Biden's presidency, and they all make mistakes because we're humans. It's the most difficult job in the world, and they're working for us, for the people. So, para el pueblo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying, if you're going to do a bad job, te voy a correr, you're fired, O sea, porque that's the way it is. So, Joe Biden did his presidency. He did amazing things. He had, mistakes, and Kamala knows those mistakes, and she's aware of them, and she's going to make them good, in her own terms. So, for me, it's really important that the medical care, the 45, he just wants to take away all the medical care, especially for us Latinos, So it's crazy. And let me tell you something, I'm scared. And we should all be scared in a way that, but in the way that we are estamos atentos, because if fear just, like paralyzes you, that's no good. But when it puts you, sabes, alert, then it's different. So we have to be, that's where we need to go. Porque estamos tan pegados, we're so close, which is really crazy to be thinking that it's so close in this time, with this other guy. So, yes, I think Kamala has the best healthcare ideas, and she has a plan.
She has a plan, and that's what I like. That's definitely where I'm leaning always to the Democratic Party. But I tend to think of myself as a much more conservative Democratic when it comes to policy, and that's difficult. People don't understand the policies and the decisions you make, because not only are you making them, you feel for yourself. 8 years ago, I kept telling myself, oye, yo voy a votar por mi hermana, por mi tía que no pueden y lo que sea, pero esta vez voto por mí.
Absolutely.
Porque el futuro del what's going to happen to me in my retirement, al futuro, lo que va a pasarme in the next 4 years, because it's the critical time is, yes, you're right. It is now. What's going to happen for the next 4 years? What's going to make sense? And we've seen what happened during only 1 4 year of taking away the women's rights, taking away, retrasándonos.
Exactly. We're going back. Can you believe that we are again there? Like almost there? It's like so crazy. It's like, es una como película de ciencia ficción, honestly. No, it's sci-fi. Like going back in the future. I mean, it's crazy what's going on. But let me tell you something. I think that in the bottom of our hearts, we know what's right and what's wrong. And we know that this guy, the 45, has no place of being the 47th again, and he is not the right person. He's a felon, he has so many things, and we know in the bottom of our heart it's not right to talk the way he talks, to be putting again racism as a normal thing, normalizing the way he talks, the way he refers to women, this sexism, this like everything that he says about women is just so wrong. And forget only women, the way he acts, he's a violent person, and he is always, laughing de los Latinos in our face, and he doesn't care because he always gets away with everything.
Yeah.
So I'm fed up with that, honestly. Right. Los Latinos tenemos cojones, you know what I mean? And why are we letting this guy step all over us?
Yeah, you're right. Speaking of representation, speaking of why are we letting people do what they want when it comes to our policy of our policing our own body, right? Yo y mi esposo tuvimos una conversación, o sea, an argument. And this was years ago, cuando le dije, I never considered becoming a scientist because I remember all my science teachers were men. And he's like, no, it doesn't matter. And I'm like, no, but it does matter. Even though he was Latino, it mattered that it was a woman in that place. It mattered to me because how can, I don't know, we're always, I don't know if they're pinning up against each other, but seeing a woman in a place that I can say, oh, I can do that. So when we talk about representation, Kamala Harris, if chosen today as the president, will be the first woman president. What kind of message do you think that sends to young women and especially young Latinitas like me and yourself?
God, can you imagine? I'm Mexican, ¿no? Soy de la Ciudad de México.
Igual.
For me, es uno de los países, tú sabes, machistas. And we have a woman president now. I don't know how she's going to, I don't know how she's going to be doing, but we have a presidenta, which I love, that. So for me, it's so important that young Latinas and young girls all over America can really look up to a woman president, because it brings us, so much hope. And I think we need that right now. We need that. Someone who comes from a very low-class family, medium low-class family, which is amazing. She's done so much. She came from nothing, and she's done herself a very, strong woman who's demanding respect too, So I admire her so much, and I want little girls to look at her, up to her, and know that they can do whatever they want. The dream, the American dream. That's why I'm here. I'm an immigrant. I came here to this country to look for a better life, the American dream, if you want to say that, because I think the American dream is always in the heart. But anyways, now it's not geographic. But in this moment, I think that what us immigrants know how hard it is. It's been really hard for us already, having to leave our own country. So I want to live in an America where I can be heard, when I can, if I want to wear a skirt and walk in the street however I want, nobody's going to grab me from where.
Yeah.
So freedom is the most important right in the world. Freedom. And it has to be that way. We have to go back to that way. We have to go back to knowing that racism is wrong in every single sense.
In every word that it is.
Los hitlerianos, they're wrong, So I believe in the goodness of people. I think there's more good than bad. And I know that in the bottom of our hearts, we know what's right.
When you talk about, because I hear the fight in your voice and I hear the frustration, how can Latinas who watch you as such a front leader, as such a front person, how can we take the fight for equality, for representation, for us?
Well, I think for me, it's almost an obligation, because if I have the voice, I'm not saying somebody else doesn't have the voice. We all have voice. But what I'm saying is, because we are celebrities, we get the attention of the press. So thank you for giving me this space to say whatever I want to say, because that's how it works, It's reciprocal. So you give us the chance to be in your podcast or whatever, to use your microphone. And estoy obligada to say what I really think it's right, because I know there's a lot of people following me, and I know I can be the voice for all of them. So I'm not saying I'm right in everything. I'm not saying you have to think the way I do, but at least I try to be congruent with what I think and what I say and how I act, which is really hard, but I try every single day. So for everybody else, just give us this opportunity, be open to listening, be open to other points of views. And then if it doesn't work, then go ahead and that's okay.
Yeah.
But we need to be more human.
Yeah.
And we have to be humanized again. And that's what this 45th lacks of, Yeah.
He was given a chance and he didn't work out. And we see
and
he was given the chance. He didn't.
For himself, which that's what I love about Kamala. I know she's not only going to see for herself and for her presidency or her career. No, she's looking out for all of us, you know, for the country, which is what that's why we hired her. Well, she got hired if we hired her. So, yeah.
Muchas de las veces, vemos the politics especially, lo vemos a un lado como si es un partido de fútbol, sin entender que nosotros participamos en ese partido de fútbol. We have to stand up. We have to put the ballot in. We have to make sure we're there in line, make sure that our voice counts every in which way.
Absolutely.
When you talk about that, ¿qué le quieres decir a la gente que ahorita sabes que están, o sea, apenados o tal vez no saben o no encuentran su manera cómo hacer las cosas, como sí no solamente a ver what the results are, but actually go and vote. What would you tell? Si era yo una amiga, you know, and I was like,
You know, if you were my friend, te diría, luego no te quejes. You know,
Okay.
don't complain. If later on you say, oh, the taxes, oh, why is this? Oh, no. No, why? Whatever it happens, no te quejes porque you didn't go voting. You didn't vote. So shush. You know, your voice now is not being heard because you decided that way. You know, so that's what I'm saying.
Love.
Yo vine a este país y tengo 23 años aquí. I decided to come here, but I want to be a good citizen, you know, because I'm here, I'm paying taxes, I'm everything. You know, and I'm working and giving money to this country.
Yeah.
So why am I not going to be able to hacer que mi voto cuente? Porque it's a right. It's your right to vote. And if you think your voice is not heard, listen to me, all of you. It's heard. And today is the most important day of all because we are very close in la carrera. You know what I mean? Estamos casi empatados. So right now, one vote makes the whole difference.
Speaking of importance, how important is the Latino vote in this election and how it can shape the future for our communities and our future?
We do. I mean, we can't shake the future of this country. Only us Latinos. Are you kidding me? Or only women in this country. We could totally shake everything. We can change the curse of this country. So that's how important it is, you know, because we are fed up. At least I am. I don't know about you, but I am fed up, you know, with this horrible things that's going on, with all this esta falta de humanidad, you know. So I'm fed up. That's why I'm here today with you. So thank you for your space, for your, you know, giving me the power of your microphone. It's very, very powerful. So tenemos que salir, tenemos que estar diciendo, hablar las cosas entre nosotros, decir a nuestros amigos, decir a nuestros padres, decir a nuestros hijos, decir a nuestros primos, a nuestros hermanos, ir juntos a votar. You know, if you don't want to go by yourself, make a plan. We still have time, but we're running out of time.
Yeah.
You know, this country is running out of time.
Yeah.
So get out there. Get out there. Still on time.
We're still on time.
Yes.
Bueno, con eso, I want to tell you thank you so much for your time, your honesty, your fresh breath air to hear your voice in such a way that it's impactful and not being scared to voice it exactly the way it is. Kate, muchas gracias y ojalá los vemos pronto. Tengas un día excelente. Gracias. Los vemos.
Muchas gracias a ti. Gracias.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Latina Leadership Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your amigas, comadres, hermanas, your mom, your tias, or anyone who you think would enjoy the conversation. The Latina Leadership Podcast is a weekly video and audio podcast since 2020. Visit our online Latina Leaders Directory, join our growing community of Latina changemakers, keep up with our calendar of events, or reach out to us if you're interested in supporting the Latina Leadership Podcast by visiting our website at latinaleadershippodcast.com. And with that, we'll see you next time.